There's no shame in being an alcoholic. I know in really early recovery, and of course while I was still drinking, years trying to quit drinking, of course there was tons of shame. But getting distance from my last drink, especially over the past year, I've been really noticing how much we were set up to fail. You know, I'm an older millennial. And when I was coming of age to be able to legally drink, even though I was definitely drinking before then, we were just bombarded with beer commercials. That's really when they leaned into how your life wouldn't be fun unless you were drinking. And being at a formative age, when you see all of these people, beautiful people, parties, all these things, beer, fucking vodka, tequila, all of these things, telling us you have to drink to have fun. Of course, so many of us became alcoholics. And society is so funny about how they say, oh yeah, you have to drink, but if you drink too much, fuck you. And that's bullshit, you know? I go to a lot of meetings and it's a lot of people like my age. We really were kind of set up for devastation. For me, realizing that, knowing that this is a disease, I truly believe that I was just born with this. It runs in the family. I'm Scottish. I like to say, the only way that I wouldn't have ended up in recovery is if I just never had a drink. Because as soon as I did, it's it activated, man. And I was like, oh, I want this all the time. That's not normal. Since getting sober, I've really noticed how normal people drink. They drink until they feel it, until they're like, oh geez, I'm getting a bit out of control, I should stop. That's our starting point, you know? They're like, oh, I've had 3 drinks, maybe I should cut it off. And if you're like me, an alcoholic, you're like, no, 3 drinks that's before you show up. That's before dinner. That's just when you are like, all right, now let's start going. Getting rid of the shame is a really important part, I know for me, of my recovery. Realizing that, okay, this is just a thing. You know, no one gets mad at people for getting sick, like getting cancer, all of these things. So looking at it like, all right, this is just, it's an affliction that I have. You know, I'm an alcoholic and I am proud of it now because it's who I am. And so getting rid of that level of shame, worried about what other people think, was really important to me owning it and then being able to address it and doing the necessary work to manage it, because it is just a disease that I manage every day. And life is fucking great, but it means that I have to do daily things. I had to build a toolkit. I had to know how to get out of situations. But it made my life so much infinitely more manageable and easy and enjoyable. And yeah, of course, I see some young people just stumbling down the street and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that was fucking fun. But I don't long for the booze. I long for just being younger. There's no part of me that says I want to go back to being fucking drunk all the time. It's more just, I wish I could go back and be like, you know, skateboarding in my teens. It's that kind of feeling. Getting rid of this shame that we have about where we ended up and how we got here. It was super important for me to just realize, yeah, I just am an alcoholic. You know, that's completely fine. Of course it is. So if you're having problems with feeling like a piece of shit, you know, look at how the cards were stacked against us. You know, I can't imagine someone being an alcoholic, like in their blood, like I know that I have it, and not ending up being a drunk, fucking a lot of stuff up, and hopefully ending up in recovery. To me, it was just a natural progression of my life. I was either gonna end up dead or end up sober. And luckily, I made the right choice. I reached out to somebody and I started doing the work. And it's a daily thing, of course it is, but so is skincare or having a shower. We have daily things in our life that we do to make our lives manageable. And I now have a toolkit that I use that keeps me sober every day. And my days are pretty fucking great. And they're easier and they're a lot more enjoyable. And overall life is drastically different and it's dramatically better.